Welcome, everyone. You're listening to Nephology, the podcast dedicated to crypto, accounting, business, finance, and much, much more. I'm Joe David, the founder of Nephos Group in MENA. Please note that all conversations recorded are professional opinions, and if you'd like to know more or gain support, please reach out to the team directly. Now on to the next episode. Hello everyone, welcome to the latest episode of the Nephology podcast. I'm delighted to welcome Talal today, the CEO of CoinMENA. Talal, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you so much for having me.
I heard you had a fantastic event last night, so I'm sure a bit tired after that.
No, it's GITEX week is always hectic.
Yeah, always busy.
I guess October in general in Dubai, you have to recharge your social battery because you're going to be meeting a lot of people. And yeah, I guess, a bit tired, but it was definitely worth it.
Definitely worth it. Yeah. I feel like with the summer as well, you kind of forget what going out and meeting people and having all these events is about because you have 2-3 months of quite a quiet period, and then all of a sudden October comes and it hits you hard, doesn't it?
Yeah, problem is most events are even now towards the end of the month. There's still Binance Blockchain Week. There's the Cardano Summit. There's RackDAO. So there's
Are you heading to them all?
Not necessarily. I will definitely go to Binance Blockchain Week.
Yep.
Big Boss CZ should be back in town.
Yeah, I heard,
and attending. So yeah, we'll definitely want to go see that. I think they'll honestly respect to what Binance has been able to achieve. We'll definitely want to go to that one.
Yeah, for
the
sure.
Others I'll try to, but I need to actually do some work.
Yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's we get lost in the going to the event, wandering around, meeting all these people, chatting to people, and then no work gets done. You spend your evenings doing all the work because you spent all day at events or all evening at event.
Yeah, and I guess it's very important to taken a new strategy at events where I want to pursue 10 leads.
Yeah.
Not more.
Okay.
Because if I end up speaking to everyone and everyone's sending me a message or delegating, like someone would come and, let's connect. You know what? The best thing is to speak to Abid, or best thing is to speak to Amin, or best thing is to, because if you take on too much, you end up with absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. Somebody said to me 5, but 10, 5, is that kind of, like you say, go there and get 5, get 10, whatever the number is, really good, solid contacts that you can follow up with, or somebody can follow up with, not get 50 business cards that you never speak to half of them again, and it's just a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah, I actually followed an interesting strategy on business cards where if you, basically to do retargeting, because you have all the information there, phone number, email, etc. So getting that into a database and then running ads for them has proven to be. So business card collection is...
And then retargeting.
Yeah, exactly. So that part can work out. But I guess it's also important to know who's at the events. They're manning the booths with the sales team. So if you're a customer looking for service, it's great. But if you're looking to sell...
True.
A salesman going to salesman. So...
Yeah, true. So, I guess first of all, tell us a little bit about your background, where you've come from, what brought you into, I guess, this space, and what CoinMENA is all about.
Yeah, so my name is Talal I'm a Jordanian engineer turned entrepreneur. Was born and raised in Jordan. Did engineering in the US and started working in financial services after that. And realized that banks were light years away from adopting cutting edge technology. They have very outdated systems and it's very rigid and it's not compatible with the new trends. So I guess have always been interested in the intersection of finance and I guess money and technology. And working at a consulting company made me realize how bad services are at banks, but also how messed up the incentive structures are. I guess obviously when you start a company you do it for a purpose, but you also want to make money, and combining both is, in my opinion, how you stay motivated, because it's not easy to stay motivated and on it. I guess working at a financial consulting company showed me how messed up lending is. If I come from a good family, even if I have very bad credit rating and I've blew up several companies and whatever, I can still get a loan for 4 or 5% or 3% above the Fed or whatever. But if I'm a government employee that's earning close to minimum wage and I want a salary advance, then my annualized interest rate's like 45%.
Yeah.
So basically, like this thing of banking the unbanked, banks don't want to bank the
No.
unbanked. They want to make money, and those, like, let's say, customers carry a bigger compliance burden than what you're going to make money out of. So crypto and in general fintech has the ability to scale. So yeah, that's how I kind of got interested in crypto. But I'd say very transparently, similar to many people that also joined, is you want to make money.
Yeah.
Right? Like I interned at my dad's company when I was in middle school and high school, and I knew that I wanted to work in a new industry. Because the thing that I hate the most is someone to tell you, oh, I have 20 years experience doing this, so I
We
know
have to
more
do it
than
this
you.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
So I wanted to work in any industry where that did not apply. And obviously at my dad's company or family's company, it's even worse because no matter what you do, you always be the boss's son.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did not want to go down that route, and I'm maybe my team has different feedback, but I'm a bit intense or strict. I don't know how we want to call it at work, and yeah, it's harder to do that in a family business.
In a family business, yeah.
I worked at PwC Consulting and spent a lot of time in Saudi Arabia. And that made me realize how big of a gap there is in the Middle East for regulated, compliant crypto exchanges. People were struggling to get in and out of crypto, and you have very high disposable income, you have insane smartphone penetration, you have a very young population. So there's like a perfect socio-economic backdrop for crypto adoption. And you have very poor banking service providers. So in 2017, I left my previous job at a family office in Saudi. So like I did PwC, then worked for a family office in Saudi, and then moved to Switzerland to work on what I thought was the most exciting thing in crypto, which is automating processes in traditional finance. So like we did the world's first Sukuk transaction on public net Ethereum.
Oh, wow.
It was with a bank in Abu Dhabi called Al Hilal Bank, under ADGM's sandbox. I still think that smart contracts is going to be an integral part of finance and automating processes, but I guess no one was interested in that at the time, and all people wanted is how can I buy and sell Bitcoin, USDT, Ethereum. In 2020, me, Yazan, and Dina basically decided to set up CoinMENA and to actually follow the market. Like, I guess there's two different ways you can think of product. You can either push a product or pull a product. If you push a product, that was like what I was doing earlier. You come up with an idea that you think is interesting and can help people improve their lives or solve a problem, and then you push it to the market to see if it works. The pull model, on the other hand, is you see a market failure, you see a gap, and you create a solution specifically to address that. So that's CoinMENA. Yani we knew that there was a gap in the market, and we knew that I used to be an angry customer of many of the exchanges here.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't name one exchange, and that's not to put anyone down specifically, that previously, 2-3 years ago, you could say hand on heart, we're doing it perfectly right and had it solved. So you definitely had that opportunity, and that's not slating the exchanges necessarily. There was, the regulatory framework, needed to be, thought out a little bit more and all those sorts of things. But it was definitely a space that needed fixing.
Yeah, you raise a valid point as well. Like at CoinMENA, we're able to provide this reliable service because we have a Central Bank of UAE approved client money account.
Yeah.
This account was purposely created to receive and send out money related to crypto transactions.
Yeah.
In 2018, that wasn't possible. Like even if you wanted to be compliant, you couldn't.
Yeah.
And also the other exchanges in the Middle East did have their highs. So that's what I was mentioning earlier about staying motivated, because like if you're making crazy profits, which is very possible in crypto, you can become complacent. And in my opinion, that's what happened to other previous exchanges in the Middle East that were kind of leading and pushing the way. But crypto is a very global industry. So like if you look at the amount of companies or exchanges or custodians or you name it, they're setting up in the UAE and Bahrain. Demand is growing, but also this competition is increasing a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And on that point, why Bahrain? Because you mentioned the central bank of the UAE, and obviously there's VARA regulation here as well. But you've also got the central bank of Bahrain license and regulation as well, right?
Yes.
Why did you choose Bahrain?
To start off, Bahrain has always been a trailblazer when it comes to new stuff. Like the internet boom in the Middle East, Batelco was in Bahrain. Okay. They created it. The first international banks were in Bahrain. Before the IFC, Bahrain was the hub. So I guess there's obviously that, but Bahrain, in my opinion, is also a great place to do business. It is heavily underrated. Dubai is always stealing the spotlight, and I live in Dubai, so I guess I'm a bit biased, but when we wanted to start CoinMENA, there was ADGM or Central Bank of Bahrain as regulators in the Middle East. And I guess one of the most important factors was, as a business that's doing on-ramp and off-ramp, my most important stakeholder is the banks. So what's the best way for me to speak to banks eye to eye without them trying to like discredit crypto is to be regulated by the same regulator they have. So like a bank can't tell me you don't have a legitimate industry or whatever because we report to the same boss.
The same people, yeah.
And in Bahrain, you have something that's unique, that's great by design. It's the central bank is the boss of all things finance.
Okay.
Like the SEC equivalent is part of the central bank.
Okay.
So payments is, whereas other countries, even the UAE, you have multiple regulators. But yeah, each one serves a different purpose, and we'll continue to grow our licensing stack. So you mentioned, we had Bahrain and now VARA UAE. We will expand to other countries in the MENA region because we want to be the base layer where we have the local regulated client money account. I think that's a very important advantage. Like we used to serve UAE out of Bahrain before our VARA license, but it was a pain to send dirhams to Bahrain or send dollars to Bahrain. Might as well just send it to the US and work with a
Kraken true. And that's a big thing here. You're not the biggest exchange globally out there, which is, I know, is not necessarily the strategy either, but you're not the biggest exchange globally. So if you're not providing a service that is much better than and much less clunky than those other ones, people are just going to go, well, I'll go to Kraken instead, or I'll go to OKX instead, or whatever, because they don't need to come to you because you're no better than the rest of them. So you kind of have to do that.
I agree.
Something better, and offer that smooth. I know from using the service myself, the smooth speed of transactions in terms of getting the money from crypto into my bank account is insane. I've grown up obviously in the UK and had business and still have business in the UK, and that for a forward thinking fintech hub and all those sorts of things can't do anything like what you guys are doing here in terms of the speed of processing crypto into the bank.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we give enough credit to Yazan, our third co-founder. He's a board member. He's not actively working on CoinMENA, but when we first put out the KPIs, he's like, time to withdraw should be more important than revenue. I'm like, man, come on, cut the crap. Revenue is the most important thing. Like, actually, we should focus on time to withdraw because it's the biggest failure in the market. And obviously we focused on revenue, but we also took that as a very, very important one. And crypto is already a high risk industry where people are already scared. So you want to do everything you can to make them feel better.
And that's the point, right? Is the longer that piece of time between you saying withdraw and the money being in your bank account, stress you go through of like, where's my money? What's happening? At least if I'm sending USDC to you, I can see the movement.
You can know how many block confirmations.
But when it's the other way around, you can't see that at all. And you're absolutely right. And not only are you waiting and wondering, is the money going to hit? But you're also then thinking, when it does hit, what are the bank going to say? Are the bank going to allow it? Are the bank going to wait 2 days and then block it? And go on.
It's a real concern, and I think we previously discussed whether the global exchanges pose a threat. Obviously, competition is going to squeeze margins, but what you said, in my opinion, is one of the biggest issues, because people that work or live in the world of crypto, they're still getting their traditional banking services from banks. So how do we start providing banking services? And for the compliance officers and the regulators watching this, we are not a bank, but and we will obviously do this in a regulated manner. But VARA does allow stuff like lending. There's also there's loads of financial services that we'll aim to provide to corporates, individuals, so that they don't need to go to their bank.
So
And they
you,
can use CoinMENA as
their bank.
financial service provider. Yeah.
I mean, I know, the UK is a very different market, obviously, but in the UK, you can set up a company and a bank account in 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's a simple, very cheap, easy process. Over here, it is much more difficult. Setting up a company is just a bit more paperwork. There's no real challenge as such, but there's a bit more paperwork and it takes a bit more time. But banking here seems like a real, I say problem, but it seems a much, much harder kind of market. Is there a reason for that you've seen, that the banking market here is so challenging for businesses?
Yes. In my opinion, banks are making a lot of money on their existing and big customers that they don't want to increase their risk, or it's not within their risk threshold to onboard loads of new businesses because, okay, UAE has been removed from the grey list.
Yep.
But that stays as something in the back of the mind of the boards, the management of the banks.
Yeah, what if? Yeah,
what if? So you have banks that are being more aggressive. Like if you think of what Zand has achieved, and props to Michael and Asan and the Zand team for really pulling this off.
Yeah.
But they bank like 99% of the crypto businesses in the region. But you're seeing a lot more banks that are being more progressive. I think Zand, Wio, Ruya are the ones that have really done a good job in my opinion, and Ruya is the latest challenger or digital bank, and those will be able to offer accounts for startups and smaller businesses in easier manner. But if you go to someone like Fab or Emirates NBD, they're already making so much money, and
why would they take the risk?
Why would they take on that risk?
And I guess the challenge for me though a lot of the time is I'm not necessarily expecting them to be kind of super positive on the crypto space, but accepting dirhams, so the local currency that they are regulated to accept from a regulated exchange or a regulated business, that is what is challenging for me, that they find even that part.
There is no excuse to that, honestly.
Difficult.
There's no correspondent banks. That in my opinion should
there's no excuse.
In 24 hours, as you said.
100%, and that's I guess where the frustration comes into the regular user. They're not saying, Emirates NBD or whoever, we expect you to be, the most crypto friendly people in the world, but when we withdraw money from a regulated partner, we don't expect to have any problems.
Yeah.
Because we're like you said, we've got the same ultimate boss.
But to be completely honest, as much as this sucks, it's great for our business.
True.
Like I'll be super transparent. Is that we help customers with their banking.
Yeah.
Whether it's opening accounts, whether it's on providing them with the relevant documentation to show that the source of funds are there. I guess one man's problem is another man's opportunity.
And are you finding now that because of, I've just had that piece around the banks, but are you finding now that the banks are more open, if you like, to receiving funds from you guys because of who you are and your name in the space now?
Of course. And then in my opinion, VARA did a great job with this, is putting the status of every license publicly online on an official Dubai government website. So if you go to vara.ae, you can go to the public register and you can see that CoinMENA is authorized to serve retail, corporate, institutional, and we're allowed to do broker-dealer services in crypto.
Yeah.
We've done 6, 7, 8 billion just this year. So that's all on-ramp, off-ramp, not like on-chain trading or like this is on-ramp and off-ramp.
Yeah.
So this is no longer a theory. It is something that's proven.
Yeah. And would you say then on the business model for you guys, what is the core business model for you? Because obviously when people think exchange, they think Binance or Bybit or whatever, and they think trading. And obviously I know the answer to this question, but what do you see as your kind of, I guess, USP and why people would use you versus other exchanges out there?
I appreciate the assist. But basically, we don't have an order book. So exchanges that are like the Binances, the OKEx, the Bybits, they have loads of revenue streams, all the way from like listing new tokens to liquidation of the users when they're taking on leverage. Like it's a completely different ballgame. And in my opinion, we provide a completely different service. We allow people to go in and out of the world of crypto in a compliant and easy manner. and we charge anywhere between 0.3 to 1%, depending on the asset and depending on the pair. But if you compare that to what Visa or MasterCard would charge for a deposit or I guess withdraw, they don't even support properly. It's closer to the 2.5-3% range, which is crazy. Remittance is also the same. If you're remitting money from UAE to India or Pakistan, you're also paying several percent.
Yeah.
So crypto does allow, like, I guess we're not serving speculative traders on CoinMENA because we don't have charts, we don't have an order book, but we provide other services, and basically the more people on ramp and off ramp, the more we make money. So you deposit dirhams, you buy USDT, and you withdraw. We charge for that transaction, and it's all volume based. It scales nicely, and there's definitely lots of demand for I'd say stable coins primarily, Bitcoin second, and then meme coins is having an insane year, but it's hard to keep up as a regulated business, because I guess that's a nice entry point to what we're doing with Bitpanda.
Yeah.
But as a regulated entity, we need to ensure that the token is listed on top exchange so that you can get pricing, liquidity, execution, but also that it's supported at the custodian, which is BitGo, which we're very proud to work with. They're in my opinion, the best custodian in crypto. So having to coordinate with both to list a token and with the regulator is quite a pain. Whereas Bitpanda has a regulated broker-dealer and exchange, and they have a regulated custodian, so you can list any token that's listed on Bitpanda essentially. So that's what we're doing with them. They're going to be a partner to us on this, and I think what they've done is amazing. And they're doing a lot on the retail side. Like, they're the sponsors of AC Milan, Bayern Munich. So to me, that's I guess I'm a Bayern Munich fan.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, and these are top names like Bayern and AC Milan. You're not sponsoring.
No.
Yeah.
I read an article where you've seen, obviously, Thomas Tuchel, England manager, which is interesting. See a German England manager. The English press are loving that, as you can imagine. But I saw an article, I think it was on Bloomberg or something, that betting companies have now been replaced by crypto companies as the kind of main sponsors for large sports clubs, and obviously mainly football, but obviously other sports as well. And it's interesting how obviously betting has its own stigma against it in terms of what that can do to people that maybe suffer with things like addiction and stuff like that, whereas you could argue crypto doesn't have that, but it was interesting how they were saying how much of that you haven't really noticed, but actually if you look across the top sports clubs around the world now, hardly any have gambling companies. The majority of them have crypto companies, which is
that's true.
It is true when you think about it.
But by the way, it's I do agree with you on like online gaming and gambling being a risk from addiction standpoint. I see it for sure. And I don't know how it's gonna unfold, because in the US they had like a very strict ban, and now it's like everything flies, and Polymarket is becoming like an intersection between financial markets, and they're calling it prediction markets, so that it's softer, I guess, on people's gambling has a very negative connotation.
It does.
Prediction markets is softer, but it's basically the same thing. But the crazy difference and this is like a real use case of crypto and blockchain, where you can go in and out. Like, if you go to Vegas and you place a bet, it's not as easy for you to move out of that bet. There's exchanges there's gaming sites that allow you to cash out partially or fully, but with Polymarket it's a liquid pool where you can, without anyone's approval, go in and out. I think honestly what Polymarket has done from a user experience standpoint is by far the best product I've seen, and I think that's the future of it. Like, you log in with your email, you don't need to know your private key or any of that. I totally agree.
It is definitely one of the biggest I've seen use cases, that because I've had friends that have maybe gambled or whatever in the UK, where it is obviously very popular and whatnot, and they've made half decent money on a bet, quite like tens of thousands say on a bet or a few bets, and then they go to withdraw it, and they have challenges trying to get it out of the gambling site and into their bank account. And it's just, you look at these things and you say, well, how can you allow something to happen, let someone make that money, and then when they've made it say, oh no, sorry, we're not doing that anymore?
Yeah, man, that's you're withdrawing it to the UK. Imagine trying to withdraw it
Oh yeah,
to Jordan, for
yeah,
example.
yeah. It'd be even harder. So, but on that, I guess no. Well, I guess I got two questions here. So the first one is around the Bitpanda, the kind of token listing and things like that. If you're not looking to, run a big order book and expect people to be able to, I don't know, trade these random tokens and things like that. Obviously, having more tokens is a benefit because people can send that in, they can exchange it into dirhams and off ramp it. But do you not find that if people are looking to off ramp, they're not going to go from Shiba Inu, for example, straight to dirhams? They're going to.
You would be surprised, man. You would be surprised.
Okay, so I'm expecting most people.
Floki. Like, I don't even rate Floki that high.
Yeah.
When we listed it, we had one of the highest days of volume.
I find that crazy.
Because you have to remember that not everyone is, at least in the Middle East, this is something that we designed CoinMENA this way because of our understanding of the region. The traditional mentality here is you buy an apartment in London and you wait.
Yeah.
You're not trading.
Yeah.
Like, even if you look at the local stock markets, there isn't that much trade volume compared to how much wealth there is, because the modus operandi, if you want, is you buy and wait. So with CoinMENA, many people buy Doge, Shiba Inu, Floki, so they're not trading with us as in, like, what's the stop loss, what's the take profit? It's a completely different ballgame. They're buying Dogecoin and they're holding it for 2-3 years.
Right,
like,
okay.
We have customers that bought meme coins at the bottom of it, and they're up like 500, 600, 700%.
Yeah. They're just sitting on it.
Yeah, they're sitting on it in a regulated, insured custody setup, and they'll eventually sell it to dirhams and withdraw it. That is also a big customer segment in the Middle East.
Yeah, interesting. I just had this idea that, people would, if they really wanted to trade meme coins, they'd trade meme coins wherever they were trading them, either if there is centralized listing there or decentralized, if it's that way. And then they'd convert that to a USDC, USDT, something like that, then send that to you guys. And then I didn't really expect people to hold Shiba Inu or Doge or whatever on the platform.
To be fair, now stablecoins is maybe 80% of our volume. When we started the company, the first 6 months, it was like 20%.
Right.
Your thesis is correct. It's stablecoins is the lion's share of it. But basically, okay. And then one other thing that we like to implement at CoinMENA is data-driven decision making. The number one request from customers is, I want more tokens. If customers want more tokens, we'll get them more tokens.
Is that naivety though from customers, where they think, I need more tokens, and if you don't have 100 tokens, you're a bad exchange?
Yes.
Yeah.
And what is insane is when we list new tokens, people go buy Bitcoin, Ethereum, and USDT.
Yeah.
Like when we list new tokens, people log in back into CoinMENA. It's like the best marketing tactic.
It's funny, isn't it?
And they end up buying not the new,
not even the ones that you've,
what they're used to buying.
And I guess it is that marketing piece, isn't it? If you say, we're listing this trending token right now, then everyone goes, oh wow, they must be good if they're listing that.
Yeah. Plus, honestly, from our side, we offer token issue. If you're a token issuer, you want your token traded against dollar, dirham, Bahraini, Kuwaiti, Omani, Saudi. So with CoinMENA, with one listing, we list it against 8 fiat currencies, which for a token issuer is something that for them is important.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. From a token issuer perspective, that opens a huge market for them.
So they end up posting on social media. There's a bit of circular logic there, but I mean, I personally think that it's not our job to referee.
No.
I'm not the NASDAQ, so the idea is to provide a marketplace or an exchange, essentially, where people can come and trade anything that's digital. Yeah,
no, that makes sense. And does that mean then that in the future you might look at things like tokenized gold or,
and a tokenized gold we technically already have.
Okay.
In Tether's XUAT.
Okay.
It is
on the platform.
Gold, fully backed, sitting in a vault in Switzerland. You can now soon borrow against it. So like this is a massive opportunity that I see, where we're also like, so previously, remember I told you this Ethereum smart contracts? Those were asset tokenization contracts.
Okay.
So like that was basically what I was doing before CoinMENA.
Yeah, okay.
We did the Sukuk, we did a central bank digital currency test with Jordan.
Okay.
We did something also with a startup called Smart Crowd, where we tokenized an SPV and we issued tokens that represent ownership in that SPV. Eventually we'll go back to tokenization because all assets will become tokenized eventually, and BlackRock is now pushing. So it's not people like me that are
Yeah,
saying,
yeah.
"Hey, go on chain." It's people like Larry Fink
Yeah,
who
yeah, yeah.
have slightly better.
Who
track
people
record.
listen to.
Yeah. No, people.
I listen to you.
People who listen to us. People who listen to us. We're still early on compared to Mr. Fink, but yeah. So securities tokenization is going to be interesting because I need to get a completely different license, and securities don't trade 24/7. So
Yeah.
there's going to be arbitrage.
It's a
good,
much
but
harder thing to.
regulatory wise, it's a bigger pain.
Yeah. And on that piece then, liquidity wise, if you're listing X amount of tokens and you're not running these huge order books and things like that, how are you managing?
Back to back, like
Okay.
everything we do at CoinMENA.
Yeah.
you know?
Okay.
We know that if we tried to, if we had our own order book, we would need to have significantly more internal controls, significantly more risk management capabilities. So why would I? And the upside of that is 0.1%, 0.2%. I'm better off focusing on growth, focusing on HADA, and then using the regulated partners.
Yeah, makes sense. So I guess moving back then to the MENA region itself, we focused, obviously we're in the UAE and you live here, and I guess your biggest market is here.
By far.
Yeah. So what about the rest of MENA? Saudi, Qatar, obviously we mentioned Bahrain already, but there are other places as well. How do you see the whole kind of region developing from your perspective?
Yeah, so at CoinMENA we have a clear policy that we will not enter any market that doesn't have regulations. Like, we don't want to operate in gray zones. There's many companies that in Saudi set up some brokerage or some marketing company and they use it to facilitate crypto payments. We don't want to do that because we think that in crypto you have a spectrum. You have people that are doing very illicit activities or whatever, and you have people like BlackRock that are like the most compliant, whatever, and MasterCard also and Visa are doing quite a bit on that side. So Saudi should release crypto regulations in the coming year, but Saudi is the biggest market by a landslide. If you think of pretty much any industry, Saudi is the biggest in the region.
And do you mean that just because of the sheer volume of people, or
both?
Okay.
So I guess multiple factors. Saudi, I think, has 36 million total.
Okay.
Which puts it as one of the larger countries. Obviously, exclude Egypt because that's even a different type of ballgame. But Saudis in general, there is massive momentum. I think what they've done the past years has been super impressive. And there's pent up demand, which is it's not something that you can say about, because I'm more interested in the growth.
Yeah.
So in Saudi, there's lots of momentum for growth, and serving Saudi out of the UAE is working a bit, but obviously when you have local regulations, it'll be different. But I think they'll do it through banks.
Okay.
And another thing that, in my opinion, it's a good start, but it's limiting, is it'll be similar to how Robinhood and PayPal started.
Okay.
Where you can't deposit crypto, you can't withdraw crypto. You can only trade it.
Okay.
So you deposit local currency, you buy crypto, you can sell it and withdraw local currency.
Yeah. Same with Revolut and
yeah. But eventually they'll end up moving on chain, but that's a good entry point. Saudi.
Qatar came out with some regulations recently, didn't they?
Yes, but you're not allowed to use crypto. It's asset tokenization.
Okay.
I mean, Qatar is one of the wealthiest countries.
Yeah.
Not here, like, ever. It's insane the purchasing power that's there. But I guess Qatar's main priority is local investor protection.
Okay.
Because they're worried that if they regulate crypto, there might be more scams. I'm not sure I agree with that logic, because keeping it a black market is
probably
arguably
a worse
more
situation.
fertile ground for scams. But Oman have released also like a draft regulations.
I feel like they're a bit of a forgotten party in the region. Like,
don't write off Oman.
They don't seem to get as much press, or as much kind of, nobody really talks about them. It's an
we had forgotten it until I brought it up, right?
Yeah. But and it's kind of that. Yeah, it's just an interesting. But a lot of people have said to me recently, they're going to Oman to do this, that, or the other. And even I got a meeting on Sunday with someone that's traveling from a big meeting they've got over in Oman. They're a crypto business, and then coming here after.
They're doing a lot of Bitcoin mining as well.
Okay.
On like a massive scale.
Wow.
Yeah. Oman is. If you haven't been to Oman, I highly suggest.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah.
Like nature and it's great, but also the Omani people are super laid back, super relaxed, which is not something that you can say about anywhere else in the Middle East.
No.
You know, usually Middle East, it's like there's a bit of
yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't know if you call it anger, or if you deal with Omanis, you'll see how
relaxed and calm,
zen, happy, no problem.
Is that because they're surrounded by nature and all these positive vibes?
Yeah, or I guess they didn't have like a fire under them to it's I like working with Omani businesses and Omanis in general. I have great things to say, but they haven't regulated crypto yet, so we can't operate in Oman yet. But as soon as they regulate,
do you have Omani Reals off ramp?
Yes. But out of Dubai and Bahrain.
Yeah. Okay.
They recently added IBAN, which is crazy. Oman wasn't part of like the IBAN system.
Oh right.
Yeah. It used to just send to an account number.
Oh wow.
For now it's easier to send money there.
Yeah. Okay. So the currencies you can do are.
So main one is dirham.
Yep.
Bahraini.
Yep.
USD.
Yep.
Saudi riyal. Omani. Kuwaiti.
Yep.
Qatari. Jordanian,
yep.
Euro, Pound, Swiss franc, Hong Kong dollars, CNH, Singapore dollars.
Wow.
Swiss franc. I'm not sure if I mentioned Swiss franc.
Yeah, you did.
But basically, we can like what's there on the app is the ones that I mentioned, the local ones mainly, and then OTC we can pretty much do any currency as long as the compliance team sign it off.
Yeah, okay. And can you from let's just take GBP for example. Can you do GBP?
So GBP we can do. We do have a bank account. If you're onboarded on CoinMENA, then you can, yes.
So you would then be able to withdraw. Would you be able to? So say I, for example, had a personal account in the UK, but I had a business account with you guys. Does the name on the account in the UK or the other currency have to be the same as the...
Of course, we can't do third-party payments.
Yeah.
So if you have a user verified under your name, the bank has to be under your name.
Under your name, yeah.
We can't do any third-party payments.
Yeah, so the business itself has to have a bank account, or the individual itself has to have a bank account in that jurisdiction.
Yes. UK residence is my compliance officer will appreciate me giving this disclosure. There's tax related stuff, so we onboard UK nationals that are residing in the UAE.
Yeah, okay.
But we're not onboarding direct UK residents because of the tax obligations we'd have to sort out.
Yeah.
We don't onboard the American taxpayers.
No, we being British know all about the fun tax system. It's an interesting space because at the moment the UK tax system looks like it's going to increase in terms of stuff, and we're getting a lot of conversation with people that want to maybe move their operations or their crypto.
Italy, I don't know if you've seen the news the past 2 days.
No.
They increased the crypto tax from I think 20 to 42%.
Wow.
Tether CEO is Italian. Paolo is one of the smartest guys, and props to what they've been able to achieve. But he posted an interesting meme. The bike with the guy on the bike and they put a stick and they why is everyone leaving Italy? Why are crypto people leaving? And the real answer is because you're taxing the hell out of it.
Yeah. And that's a specific crypto tax, not just a capital gains tax.
Yeah, this is specifically on crypto.
Wow. Yeah. So the UK are looking at, the rumors were around 40%. I don't think they'll go that high, but that was capital gains in general, not just crypto.
Okay.
But yeah, even it's just an insane amount of...
this is at least something that is still sane. In the US, they're discussing insane stuff like taxing unrealized gains. I'm sure as an accounting expert,
But the conversations I've had with a few people that on that, they've gone, but how on earth do they expect somebody to pay that? Because if I put $1,000 in Bitcoin and it became $1 million, and I'm being taxed on the unrealized gain there.
I have to have other money to pay for that.
But I haven't, because I just put at the time $1,000. I get paid a normal salary. I just stuck how on earth is that even possible to to kind of enforce, and like you end up just putting people that don't have a great deal of cash, you end up just forcing them into bankruptcy or something like that.
Or to liquidate the asset.
Yeah, but then if you're liquidating it,
then it's realized.
Yeah. So you're actually just creating, I don't know, maybe they're trying to create taxable events, or it's just an insane policy that I don't know how anyone could possibly
I was
consider. But anyway.
Someone yesterday was telling me, I hope the coming 5 years are not as crazy as the previous 5. Because if you think of it, the past 5 years have been a bit crazy. You know? From COVID onwards, it's been a series of... but I guess in challenging times, there's also opportunities.
For sure.
Which is why I think it's pays off heavily if you're working in crypto, even AI, stuff that's new and trending. But you have to make sure that you're not grifting. Like I know people that came in crypto 2017, messed around, and then ended up leaving fully. It requires patience for sure.
100%. Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight. Just wanted to touch on as well something that we get asked a lot, and I'm sure you've got some insight in a sense to this, but the central bank came out with their rules around payment, how you can make if you are allowed or not allowed to make payments in crypto, and all these sorts of things. And there was a lot of confusion around what was allowed, what wasn't allowed. Stable coins, yes. Bitcoin, no, or the other way around, whatever it was. What's your understanding of?
So far, the regulations are guidelines, and I believe they are up to be changed within 1 year.
Yeah.
So what's the best way for a regulator to get feedback is you launch a draft, you iterate, and like I think the UAE has proven that they are experts at doing that.
Yeah.
Like the first ADGM set of regulations or the first VARA one, they get industry feedback. Like where I come from, Jordan, this is what's going to happen. So you didn't consult the industry, you didn't have. So the central bank regulations, as far as my understanding, because like this is not on behalf of CoinMENA.
No,
we haven't been part of that regulations yet. I believe for 1 year they still have the chance to adjust it.
Yeah.
But the main purpose out of it was to create a framework that allows for the issuance of local dirham stablecoins.
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be very powerful. Maybe there's a bit too much hype on stablecoins because there's so many of them that are going to be issued. Like Robinhood, Revolut, Cardano, Ripple. Everyone is launching. Everyone that has a big balance sheet is basically launching a stable coin, and it'll be interesting to see one that's directly issued by banks.
Yeah, and I guess that's a good segue then into CBDCs and whether you see any benefit, because for me, a CBDC only has downside personally, because a CBDC is very. Yes, it's blockchain based, so there's that benefit. But other than that, what's the difference between that and normal banking systems, except for control, lack of privacy for people and things like that? Stablecoins do just what a CBDC can do.
So I have a similar take on this. CBDCs will not happen.
Yeah.
People will not use them. And if countries try to force people to use them, this will only work in like totalitarian systems. So I think CBDCs for retail is dystopia, but CBDCs for banks and central banks is actually a good idea.
I think we just found our headline, by the way, for this episode. CBDCs will not happen.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would want to caveat that by saying, what the UAE has done with a project called Aber, it's a CBDC, but it allows the instant reconciliation between UAE and Saudi banks. If you think of the reconciliation process today between a bank in Saudi and bank in UAE, it's not a great process. So using a CBDC or a blockchain-based solution to allow for instant reconciliation between banks in different countries and their central bank is a great idea. Because today the way it's happening is not very efficient. So CBDCs for banks and central banks, great idea.
Yeah.
CBDCs for mass retail, they're not going to pull it off.
Yeah.
Like I would rather use Tether, USDC, Ripples, Revoluts, Robinhoods.
Or if you're not that way inclined, you just use a traditional digital banking systems.
The biggest reason why it won't happen is banking industry makes up a big part of the economy. If you launch CBDCs, you're going to cut the bank's most important revenue streams because then I'm essentially operating an account with a central bank. If I have stablecoin X in my wallet issued by central bank X, then why do I need a bank? Because I'm holding it.
So the central bank ends up cutting off the bank
which they can't do.
Yeah.
Because
No, it makes sense, and I'm of the same opinion. I think it's going to be very difficult for people to accept that a CBDC
Retail
is.
CBDCs will only happen in China or other places where they can say this is gonna happen.
This is it or nothing else.
And honestly, like you mentioned, it's negative. It is freaking dystopia.
Yeah.
Because you know what's gonna happen? Like they'll try to enforce some BS saying you have to spend 5% of your stuff on ESG friendly stuff, or like your money expires if you don't spend it. Like really messed up stuff can happen.
And people were talking, for example, COVID, they would be able to, if you had done something that was against the regulations of that country at the time, they could block you.
Yeah. You did not wear a mask, you no longer have access to your money.
Yeah.
You liked a different political party, boop, no more money. So
it's a crazy thing, and I'm glad you have the same kind of opinion, because it is something that you see a lot. It's in the news a lot, but nobody seemed. Well, China. I think China do have one, don't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it has. They did a test for expiry.
Wow.
Like if you get paid a bonus, and you don't spend it by X, you lose it.
Wow.
Like if you think. I think it's good that central banks. Actually, I don't even think that's good. But the tools that they have on monetary and fiscal policy and whatever, they use them to their advantage. Do I think that Bitcoin is a better system? Yes, of course.
Yeah.
But I guess in China they did this expiration test. For me, is insane.
Yeah, I mean. Anyway, we don't need to go too deep on that. So, where I guess coming towards the kind of end of the discussion, I could sit here all day and all night, and I know you've got loads to do as well. But like, where do you see the future? Like, what is the future of crypto blockchain in your opinion?
Yeah. So one thing we briefly talked about before the podcast, but we didn't dig into it, is what are the barriers to adoption? In my opinion, there's not too many barriers. BlackRock has launched the world's most successful financial product in history in their IBIT BlackRock ETF. Demand for stable coins is going through the roof. Tether has generated 5 billion plus profits this year.
Wow.
So like adoption is here.
Yeah.
Crypto is growing at a faster pace than the internet did. So I guess using I think it's a Bill Gates quote. Not that I necessarily like him, but it's a good quote. People overestimate the impact technology is going to have in a year or 2 years, but they heavily underestimate how much impact it's going to have on 5 to 10 years. Like people think, crypto's going to... But the reality is there's already use cases today that are helping people massively, and mainly with stable coins. But where do I think the future will head? Definitely a lot more participation from banks. We will continue to see cycles of insanity with, like, previously we had it's more of gambling, not necessarily investing. But if you think of NFTs, if you think of like meme coins, in my opinion, meme coins are a liquid version of NFTs. Like people wanted to buy NFTs to make a moonshot 100x whatever, but the problem is with NFTs is they're not liquid. They're not similar. I think we'll continue to see mini fads similar to meme coins, NFTs, etc. And then some of these will eventually materialize to more legitimate use cases, if you may. Future of FX markets will become via stable coins. So if you think of exchanging dirham with Australian
dollars.
Yeah, exactly. Australian dollars, it's a pain. And you have to go with the opening windows of the banks that can settle and clear them and whatnot. If you had a Uniswap pool or a Curve pool of those, you could exchange AED coin with AUDF and
100%.
happens anytime on chain, 24/7. I think one scary part though is Peter Thiel gave $50,000 to AI, $50,000 in Bitcoin to like a AI model, and it went and it created its own coin. So like I think that's gonna be interesting and scary.
So that intersect of AI
and crypto, I mean, it's more exciting, but
I think we're actually doing we did a panel with the YP guys. You're obviously on that. We're doing another one in a few weeks with that discussing that intersect of AI and crypto. And I agree with you. I think the opportunities are huge, but if it's not done properly, it's scary. What can be done there? And then lastly, I guess just on the UAE specifically, how do you see the UAE developing over the next kind of 12, 18 months from a crypto perspective?
Honestly, what the leadership of the country has done is absolutely amazing. that trickles down all the way to us businesses and our teams. And so we're very grateful to be located in the UAE. We have benefited a lot from the momentum and the aggressive moves, because like if you think of it, VARA is the only regulator that was purposely created for virtual assets.
Yeah.
Everywhere else in the world, they club it under the central bank, they club it under the SEC, they club it on. So what's next for the UAE is more growth, more competition, which means lower margins. But the UAE has thrived on serving a more global audience.
Yeah.
So I think out of the UAE you can serve pretty much anywhere across the world, and it's a great place to live. It's for crypto folks. Obviously, tax is an important one, but safety as well.
100%. Yeah.
You know, there's many people around the world that get what was it called, like the 2x4 attack.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, I mean, 3 years ago, I remember talking to people about custody. We even nearly launched, obviously in partnership with another firm, but we nearly launched a custody solution because clients were coming to us and saying, I'm terrified for my family's safety because I have got a lot of money on a piece of paper, effectively, in my house. And if someone comes, like if you've got a HSBC bank account or whatever, and somebody comes to you with a gun to your head, there's every chance that the bank say, hang on a second, is that the right? You know, are you sure you want to send that money there? With crypto, once you've done it, you've done it. And so whereas you don't get that risk of security here in any way compared to, Western countries. So, security is a huge thing in this area, and something I think that they have to maintain. Because if they lose that security piece, which I'm not saying they will, but if they did, I think it does take away a huge amount of the...
Of course. Dubai has, or the UAE in general, has been very strict on that side. And I think they have a amazing track record on that. So I'm personally super optimistic. I became a father earlier this year. My son was born in Dubai. I guess that... if you asked me 20 years ago where would my kid be born, I probably said back home in Jordan.
Yeah.
But like I now am full time here and expect to stay here
forever.
The foreseeable future. I don't plan anything more than 3-5. Like
it's impossible.
If someone asked me for a 5-year prediction on CoinMENA, tell them no, I'm not gonna send you that.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Yeah, I can model it on a spreadsheet, but what does that mean?
No, there is no point of doing that. You know?
Yeah, no.
What were you doing 5 years ago anyway?
Most people 5 years ago, we had COVID around the corner. Yeah. Nobody knew that was coming and what that was going to change. The world. So
in general, UAE, I'm definitely very optimistic and very grateful to be here.
Yeah, well, I'm very grateful for you to come on.
Habibi, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah, it's always a great conversation. And like I say, I could talk all night long. But for people that want to find out more about, we'll link in the description, of course, but where can they find you and CoinMENA?
Yeah, Twitter, LinkedIn.
And your website is?
Sign up to CoinMENA. You'll eventually get
CoinMENA.ae?
.com.
.com.
Yeah, we wanted to be sure that we only do .com. Because even though there was pressure initially, create a Bahrain version, I think from a security standpoint, it's important to just maintain one domain.
Yeah.
And then you can have your sub entities under that.
But, yeah, of course. Yeah, so coinmena.com, sign up and try it out. Talal, thank you so much.
Habibi, thank you for having me.
Thank you.